Salve omnibus. Okay, let's cut to the chase. I know why you're here and what you want, so sit down, shut up, and let's get this over with. You know, most people will probably point out the absurd length of time between Anita's videos, the lack of any major change in quality despite hundreds of thousands of dollars being poured into the series, and say that Anita is a fantastic con artist, suckering thousands of idiots and ideologues out of their money. But I have a different theory that can partially explain how seemingly out of touch with reality she and her fanbase are. See, I believe that Anita Sarkeesian and her fanbase exist in a parallel dimension, where the only elements of our culture that pass through is footage of other people playing video games she hasn't played, and the works of bell hooks. These videos and tweets are their synthesis of what they believe to be Earth's primary form of culture and philosophy. What we are seeing on YouTube and Twitter is an attempt at trans-dimensional communication between our world and the Armenian dimension, formerly ruled by a dark and mysterious force. Oh my god, these women all look sexy, powerful, and cool. Not a single housewife in the bunch. They must be so oppressed by the digital patriarchy, it's as if they've become seemingly independent lines of code.
At their annual BlizzCon event in 2014, the wildly successful game studio Blizzard Entertainment showed off a new game they had in the works called Overwatch.
And I bet you couldn't wait for the game to be released so you could make a video about it.
And from that first reveal, it was clear the appeal of Overwatch resided in its cast of characters, a diverse assortment of heroes, each with unique traits and abilities.
None of which you will be covering in this video.
The roster revealed at BlizzCon included men and women, sentient robots, and super intelligent gorillas.
Blessed be his name.
However, for all the apparent variety and diversity in the heroes Blizzard showed off at the game's debut, there wasn't much diversity to be seen in the body types represented by the female heroes.
And of course, that's the first thing you jump to. Hey, with Anita always focusing on how female characters look, ranging from how they sit down, their asses, and now how they compare to one another, anyone getting a weird vibe from her?
The male characters introduced that day included the towering knight Reinhardt, the sturdy engineer Torbjorn, the agile archer Hanzo, and the hulking simian scientist Winston, among others.
And so the male characters range from looking handsome to grotesque, while the female ones are all gonna look beautiful, right?
The 5 female characters introduced consisted of the slender adventurer Tracer, the slender healer Mercy, the slender support character Symmetra, the slender sniper Widowmaker, and the slender but well-armored security chief Farah.
Called it. Well, when your entire job is running around and fighting, it's actually going to be way harder to stay fat than fit.
Overwatch was hardly alone in having all of its female characters share a similar physique.
Yeah, and you love examining them, don't you, Anita? Although, when you spend your time watching other people's game footage and not playing, you can spend your time looking at the female characters instead of the actual gameplay. And again, doesn't anybody get this weird perverted vibe coming from her? I mean, she spends all her time looking at the female characters' bodies.
In Ultra Street Fighter 4, characters such as Dalsum, Hakan, E. Honda, Rufus, and Vega represent a significant range of male body types.
Muscular, really muscular, really fat muscular, and muscular.
Looking at the roster of female characters, however, while some may be a bit taller than others or have slightly larger thighs, not one of them represents a notable departure from the slender body type that has been established as the standard of conventional female attractiveness.
They are professional fighters. They have to look like this. Looking at them, we see again varying degrees of muscular, especially on Sargon's waifu.
Similarly, when we look at the champions on offer in the hugely popular MOBA League of Legends,
look at all these human characters.
We see the designers employing a wonderful range of body shapes and proportions across dozens of male characters, from the classic muscular warrior physique of Tarek, to the hefty beer belly of Gragas, to the cartoonishly disproportionate body of Dr. Mundo.
Not that you've ever played these games.
There isn't any one male body type that is presented as the standard default male body type, and the value of these characters is definitely not connected to their sexual desirability.
Neither are the female ones. It's in their moveset and abilities in these games. Of course, you'd only know that if you've actually played them.
But when we look at the female heroes, there's nothing approaching the diversity we see on the male side of the roster.
I mean, all these characters look exactly the same. And I mean, it's not like these characters look awesome or powerful, but somehow we're at the point where, because female characters look like fit human beings, this is evidence of sexism.
There are a few noteworthy variations from the standard. Illaoi is somewhat more muscular than many of the female characters. Jinx has smaller breasts, and there's the cute gnome-like Tristana.
Clearly meant to be sexualized, and of course, seeing as you're going to use a handful of characters in a game with over 100, odd you choose ones that actually disprove your point.
But the overwhelming majority of female characters make it clear that a slender figure with prominent breasts is viewed as the standard for female character design.
What is it with you and breasts, Anita? Is there something you're not telling us?
Likewise, in Dota 2, male heroes can be handsome or comical, outlandish or grotesque.
Okay, take the top right and bottom left characters. Make them female. Can you imagine the outrage over that?
While female heroes are mostly relegated to being standard humanoid characters with conventionally attractive facial features.
Like horns.
Where are all the female rock creatures, skeletal priests, and whatever this thing is?
Tumblr?
This isn't just an issue in fighting games, MOBAs, and other titles that give players a range of characters to choose from.
Yes, let's take a look at some other games you haven't played.
Female characters across the board are often limited to that same specific body type.
I should kill you.
Doing all right there?
Stay away from her.
Sure you want to let him go? And this guy wants me to trust him.
Man, only Anita could find a problem with how these characters look. They look awesome! Only she would be complaining about how women in video games are too attractive, and I think this montage is a bit too long. Perhaps it's more for Anita's personal use.
It's as if male characters are free to embody whatever physique best communicates their personality or abilities, but when it comes to the designs of female characters, that kind of imagination and creativity often doesn't seem to exist.
They don't express them, you harpy. They are programmed that way. I don't know if you understand this, but these characters, no matter how developed or well written they are, aren't real.
Rather than seeing such an exciting range of female characters, we mostly get the same body type over and over again.
Like Bayonetta, who was designed by a woman.
One designed to be sexually appealing to the presumed straight male player.
Well, I think it may be more than just them, Anita. You should be a bit more honest.
This reliance on the same body type for so many female characters isn't just boring, it's harmful.
What is the body count? How many people have died? Have women been raped because of this? What? None?
It links our value as human beings within the culture to our desirability to men, and it reinforces our culturally influenced ideas about who gets to be considered desirable and who doesn't.
Well, you certainly don't try and do that, Anita. You wouldn't wear makeup or a dress or big earrings.
The problem is exacerbated by the fact that when we do see representations of women with different body types,
you hate it just as much?
They're often presented as a joke, as in Fat Princess. Or they're pathologized and presented as a twist.
Oh shit, quick, it's a fat female police officer. Black people and chubby, shield your eyes.
Dim your eyes. Too late.
Transgression of the established feminine ideal.
The what?
As in the case of the evil lesbian psychopath Joe Slade in Dead Rising.
Let's see just how shameless you are, you dirty little skank. Say hello to my little friend.
No, not again!
Now you're living in your own fantasy world. We're in a whole weird area here.
When the majority of women who populate these game worlds are designed from the same narrow template, the problem isn't just what we're seeing in games.
Problem. See, that's the main issue, isn't it? What you see as a problem, the rest of humanity sees as fun. And fun is this very weird concept which you really just seem to find so alien.
It's what we're not seeing. The fact that fat women and women with different body shapes aren't featured in these worlds.
Oh no, as you pointed out, they are. But when they are, you don't like it. So you've successfully created a narrative in which nothing a video game can ever do will not be problematic.
It reinforces the false notion that these women are less valuable and less worthy of recognition than those women whose bodies come closer to matching the cultural beauty standard. These limitations on creativity when it comes to female characters don't stop with body type. We also don't see the same range of ages commonly represented as we do with male characters.
Because an 80-year-old woman fits perfectly in a fighting game.
It's not unheard of to see male soldiers, fighters, and heroes who appear to be in their 40s, 50s, and even older.
And their age is often a point brought up in the game.
You're right.
Playable female characters, on the other hand, are almost always young, and it's for the same reason that so many of them have the same body type.
It fits in the game world where they need to be young and fit?
They're intended to be sexually appealing to straight male players.
And perhaps someone else.
The result is that we have plenty of representations of male characters who communicate that men can continue to be active, vital, and powerful over the course of their lives.
Most men aren't Solid Snake.
Meanwhile, the absence of older playable female characters wrongly suggests that women's value is tied directly to their beauty and youth, and that when they're older, that value is all used up.
Well, considering how, in reality, those traits are biologically driven as fit young women are going to be both fertile and make good mothers, there isn't anything wrong with this. But the insane part is your constant assertion that this actually translates into real life. Look, woman, find me a single shred of evidence, a single study that links sexualization in games to sexualization in real life, and I will believe you. Now, of course, let's assume you're right, and you do believe women are being sexualized in games. Well, you certainly would also view porn as being far, far worse in this regard, right? I mean, you must have tons to say on the exploitative and often abusive porn industry where actual women are involved and there are studies showing the harmful effects of porn.
There aren't many good examples of prominent positive representations of women with different body types in major contemporary games. In Life is Strange, there's the minor character Alyssa, a classmate of Max, the protagonist.
I didn't know you were a sci-fi geek like us. What's your favorite?
Wow, this game got a perfect depiction of a fake geek down pat. Only a faker could ask something so absurdly vague, but I suppose I would have to say my favorite's Mystery Science Theater 3000.
In Assassin's Creed Syndicate, there's Agnes McBean, owner of the train which becomes the hero's base of operations.
Then may I present to you Agnes and Bertha, lady and locomotive.
Huh. So games which fit your narrative, and you've praised before, happen to have examples of body diversity you like.
Let's go back to Overwatch for a moment.
I don't wanna...
Since that initial reveal, a few female heroes have been added to the roster. There's Mei and Zarya, both of whom have body types that are notably different from those of the originally announced female characters.
Oh, how convenient. At the end of your video, you reveal that you were wrong all this time about Overwatch.
Anna, reporting for duty.
And more recently, Blizzard announced the game's next hero, Anna, who's both an older woman and a woman of color.
Knew race was gonna play into this somehow.
These characters are welcome and encouraging additions, but really they're just a start. Game developers need to continue actively working towards creating the same range and diversity of female body representations that we see among male characters.
Or what, you're gonna whine to the UN again?
When female characters' bodies are liberated from the need to uphold narrow, limiting cultural beauty standards,
They be fat?
the resulting range of representations can not only make games themselves more interesting, it can encourage us to see all women as the desirable, valuable, autonomous, fully human individuals that we are.
No. You still don't understand. So, to end this, I'm going to make one last attempt to sort you out, Anita. These women are not real. I didn't know Macintosh was still involved. Buddy, it's over. It's time to leave it all behind. Well, I guess all these years later, Sarkeesian still doesn't understand the difference between reality and fiction. Must be all those video games that she's been watching footage of. Diabana.
Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the stepping with the girls be handy. Father and I went to camp along with Captain Gording. There we see the men and boys as thick as hasty pudding. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle Dandy. Mind the music and the steppin' with the girls be handy. There we see 1,000 men as rich as Squire David. What they wasted every day, we wish it could be saved. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle Dandy. Mind the music and the steppin' with the girls be handy. The lassies they eat every day would keep a house in winter. They have so much that I'll be bound they'll eat when they're a mind to.